Let's come here and check that out. 10:30 COI. 8:30 was the FOMC dude talking. And that's it. So we are clear from econs today. Take a quick brief look at what we've got. DAX on the 3-minute chart. I'm going to bring it down to a 1. It's in a consolidation phase right now. If we take a look since yesterday, we definitely have a drop, a wave, a drop, and a wave right there. That is called a Gartley pattern. And if you look at a Gartley pattern, it tends to do what? Bearish bat? How the hell do the people get away with these crazy things? Okay, what they come up with. Okay, so if it's got a higher low, what does that mean? Sell. Okay. We're nowhere near it right now, so we don't have to worry about that. I just was looking at the pattern here. Normally, when you have a Gartley pattern, somewhere up here you would sell it. So I think the DAX still has room to go up if it were me. But we're just going to use time here today. As of right now, we're going into pattern 4s and 5s left and right. So this means the banks are pushing towards this price, 505s. This means the banks are pushing down towards this price, the 475s, right here. So this range is very important right now, and there will be opportunities for longs off the bottom here that look like sells, and opportunities that look like breakouts to short the DAX up there. I don't like being in that range right now. Gold, which was a monster yesterday on the short side, you can see here from its humble beginnings, 735 was the last short, 830 coming down, no violation there. I am going to change the dot distance because it's too far on this one. I'm going to go back to my 3. Dot offset, make it 3. Here we go. It still doesn't look right. Tacheon TIME WARP. Time offset was 3. I need the dot offset. There it is. That's a big difference. Okay. So there are two patterns that we talk about every week. The trend continuation pattern and the breakdown pattern. Okay. The trend continuation pattern identifies the signals that are in the direction of the trend, as highlighted by these present signals right here. We're essentially using a 3-tick offset from the high or low of the candle, and we're watching for a trend continuation move down until the next opposing signal. Okay, we have these windows. Okay, those are usually the easiest to spot and the most lucrative entries. The second entry that we're going to look at today and hopefully spot a bunch of are these. When you get to a counter trend signal, 550, 655, and 830. If the trend is truly down, what we're watching for are punctures. We're watching for candles that move through that line, just as a general indication that this game is not over yet. So I'm going to draw those arrows here where those punctures occurred. Sometimes it happens twice. There's a double stab. And generally what I'll do is I'll put the stop of that short, or the long if it's in the other direction, just above the puncture candle. So in this case, the first puncture is there. It would have been stopped out right away. Comes back down, punches it again. That stop would have been above that candle. And now that down move. Does anyone have any questions about the two setups? The puncture candle setup and then the trend continuation setup. Those are the two I've been focusing on primarily over the last bunch of time. Okay. So in the case of the ES this morning, we had a stop out right here. You would have entered short at 6 o'clock and been taken out at a trend continuation signal. At 6:45, we had a trend continuation signal in this direction. And then there was a puncture candle right here. So we would have been looking for a long, testing the market for a trend continuation puncture. And the stop would have been just below that candle right there. Nathan, just touch it. Touch it or go through it by 1 tick. That's a very personal thing. Some people like to see it, touch it aggressively. Other people want to see it punctured by a tick. I don't ever use a close to help me. I find if you use a close, it's too late. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. NQ is a mess right now. So the last signal would have been a puncture, would have been a long right here. Stop would have been just below the candle right there. Looking at that move. Next one coming is at 9:15. Good morning, Gary. Last but not least, Schmelly Pants here. CL, from what I can see, this consolidation range that it's in is intentional. They tripped out the stop here. And then TIM, they tripped out the stop here on purpose and then drove it down. So this range right here between 63 and 63.25 is a hot spot right now. You might want to wait for it to move away. And it seems like wherever the market is at that time, near that low, it was a reversal. Near that high, it was a reversal. In here was weird. It came up and missed it. And this one came down and missed it. Okay, I'm going to use a little detective work here in our extension method to help me understand what we should be looking for. So if I use a split right now, Tim, this candle was the white split right here. This next candle is the blue split. And this is a puncture, or if the range is to be believed, then a short opportunity exists. If you're counter trend right now, we have just double topped. Here the high was 21, so plus 3 is 24. This is, if you're a trend trader, a puncture. So it really depends on what your style is. But as of right now, if we use the split method, that is a selling pressure time at the top of the range. 922 is the next official signal. Look at that stab. I'm inclined to tell you to try to short right there after that stop run at the top of the consolidation range. NQ at 9:15 is going to be a signal with trend. We're going to try every signal with trend that we can get our hands on today. Ron, I drew the dot and the line by hand. Good morning. So, yeah, look at this. Let's see if we can get it in time.
Order pending. Order filled.
All right, so I have an NQ set up here. The dot is at 36.75. 36.5 would be a stop. We'll see what this thing does. We'll put a target up here.
Order pending.
and we'll just practice that setup. The open will be here in 14 minutes. Remember, if the trade isn't working right away, it's okay to bail if it hits your time stop, right? We explored that concept of, hey, after 5 minutes, if this thing is not going up, there's a presumption that it might never go up. Share, local file. Next, 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 next. NQ daily. All right. George, it's generally for my personality type, it is. And you'll know from the market that you analyze, experience with it, if that's in fact the case for you. NQ doesn't really take long in most instances. Rain is really coming down hard outside the house. I'm up just a few feet from the roof here. So we're getting it pretty good here today. All right, NQ is at the 150% extension of risk. So I have permission with my basic rule to move my stop to a break-even point. Sometimes it'll come back down all the way and tag out that stop, which is heartbreaking.
Order filled.
Out.
Order canceled.
Out, out, out. I don't like when it hits the stop or hits the target and doesn't fill it. I'll move my stop right underneath it when that happens. Did anybody watch the SpaceX Falcon Heavy launch yesterday? Besides me? One of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. I watched it live on the YouTube live cast. It was unbelievable. Felt like I was living in a Star Trek movie. What this guy did. Coincidentally, no mention of the fact that the COO is a woman. They put Musk's face out there and they interviewed him, but he doesn't run the company day to day. It's a really talented lady, and I don't know why she didn't get Gwen Shotwell. President and Chief Operating Officer at SpaceX. So if you didn't have a chance to watch that, essentially it's the most powerful rocket on Earth right now. It's the one that's going to get us to the moon and to Mars. And they had the main rocket gig has 3 thrusters. There's basically 3 Dragon 9 capsules lashed together. And I think this is how it works. The whole thing took off. The 2 side Dragon 9s turned around, flipped, and landed back on their original pads. The third capsule, the capsule launched away into orbit, and then the third rocket is supposed to flip and then land on a barge in the Atlantic. And it was headed straight to the barge, but only 3 of its rocket engines reignited, and it missed the barge by about 300 feet and crashed. They were expecting all 3 of the rockets to explode on takeoff. They weren't sure how it would handle the vibration. And they launched Elon Musk's Roadster, his Tesla Roadster, into space. And it's currently circling Earth and headed towards the Van Allen belt and then out into deep space. They needed to test the payload capability. But in essence, what that does is now, if we build anything outside of Earth, these rockets can go up and come down and go up and come down and go up and come down and go up and come down. And it costs about $200,000 per Dragon 9 capsule, or about $500,000 across all 3 to refuel them. So building things like space stations and orbiting observatories or interstellar spaceships, this becomes the least expensive way to get up or down. I'm pretty excited by it. Their next development phase is the BFR, which is essentially a 747 for space. They call it the big freaking rocket, but they don't say freaking. And that's the one that's going to be designed to go to Mars, go to the moon. Big day for America yesterday. I was a lot of patriotism in my house. We were pretty stoked. Nathan, I was just getting ready to look at that last signal. I'm going to clear out my drawing tools. So Nathan, if we followed our rules, this is a trend signal, 922. Close of the candle is the entry. Stop goes 1 tick below the line at 20. Once you know the risk, you know the reward. Target filled. We're not using any patterns right now. We're just using, or we didn't have a pattern 5 at the time. So that was a 14 tick winner. Yeah, I reloaded the indicator without any patterns on it. Yeah, no, I understand. This was a pattern. This was a pattern 6 at the time. Pattern 7, forgive me. But I'm running the software today without any patterns on it. Yeah, you could have done that. That was an appropriate response to what you saw. Good job. Yes, Nathan. I'm talking to you. Nathan, you're going to... I just sent you a note. Okay, so there's an example of what happened in crude at the 922 buying signal. Now on the ES, Nathan, here's another example of that. At 925, there's a pattern 5. There's two ways to approach this. If you approach it pattern free, you don't care that it's got a 5 here. You're going to enter long as soon as you can with a stop below the white dot. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is to recognize, hey, this is a pattern 5, and when we see those, Nathan, they tend to pull down before they go up, correct? Okay. And so you can elect to wait for it to pull back to here. The appropriate stop would be a shift. So the entry would have been at 84.75. The stop would have been at 82.25. If you enter at the dot, you shift that stop down to here. Everything is a pullback. And so far we haven't had a pullback yet to the line. Leah wrote, I got that same CL long off a puncture of the blue line on my 3-minute chart. Leah, you're a monster. That's wonderful. That makes me happy when you guys do that, when you ladies do that. Great job. Clear the board. Okay, on the NQ, the next signal is at 9:39. CL is taken off. NQ. One minute from the open. Right here, we're going to get a big energy bar. On the next bar, Nathan will have a high energy bar in the NQ. It'll be an exhaustion move, a reversal to the downside, more likely than not. I'm going to sync my clock just to make sure it's working okay. Internet time change update. Update successful. Okay, wow. This is the bar I'm waiting for a buying energy pullback on in 42 seconds, guys. So right here, this bar on the NQ is an aggressive long entry as of right now. We should see buyers coming in here in 30 seconds. There it is. Let's see what we get. This is observational only. It is now pattern 5. Put in a higher high. Forgive me. Boom. Stand by my original assessment. Okay, so Nathan, there's the pullback, right?
Order filled.
Now your stop goes where?
Order pending.
Right there. So this is an entry on par with what you were looking at with CL, right?
Order pending.
Where it comes back down to the line, and that becomes your entry. Mike, I forgot I was on the 5-minute on gold. I'm going to go to the 1. Thanks for the reminder.
Order filled.
Target filled on the ES. Nathan, did you see that crap? Woo! Pretty freaking amazing. Nathan said, Mike, I took it with a preset 3-point target. Good job.
Order canceled.
Good execution. So those were 3 nice little trades in a row. The CL long, the NQ long at the time at 9:15, and then an example of that pattern 5 pullback trade at 9:25. Just one after the other, nice cascade effect. And then we knew to look for that reversal here at 9:31 in the NQ using that same pattern 5 technique in time. So time is really important. I just want to continue to encourage you. You're doing really wonderful. Draw on your charts. Practice drawing on your charts, manipulating time, understanding the time space between signals. The more comfortable you are, I believe there's a correlation, Ernie, with drawing on the chart and doing these analyses, as opposed to just looking at it, observing. I think there's a correlation between how comfortable you are manipulating and drawing on the charts and your mastery of the time signals. You'll be a much better trader. Don't be afraid to get your hands in there and draw on this stuff. Okay, here's that break, Gary, right here in gold, right here. I didn't catch it in time. Just want to draw the arrow. So Leah, right there is your puncture, right? Long in gold at 26.6. Stop below the puncture candle at 25.7. So it's a 9-tick stop with an 18-tick reward in gold. So if you took that gold breakout on the puncture, you should be at a break-even condition right now. Okay, because it hit your 150%. So in gold, your stop would be at 26.7. Over on CL, you had a puncture set up at 935. 935, you were looking for a puncture of 59 right here. We'll go ahead and we'll paint that green. And then your stop would be below. So there are two kinds of puncture traders. The ones that scalp that initial impulse move through. If it's going to just be a stop run, they want to just grab those 6 or 8 ticks, get $50 to $80 if they can. And then there are the trend continuation traders who think, hey, maybe this thing is just going to continue to accelerate and go higher. If you're a multi-lot contract trader, it presents an opportunity to grab profit on the first lot and then let the other one run. But in this case, if you traded through the puncture of the 935 signal, it went from 59 to 68, 9 ticks, and then came up, touched the target. When it touches the target, I move my stop just below the target. So that would have been the 70, somewhere on the order of a 70 fill, and that trade would be over right now on that puncture. 939 is getting ready to form in 55 seconds on the NQ. As of right now, its location to the moving average is a possible puncture trade long. The DAX is out of that range that I was watching for earlier. I don't want to play anymore. 930, if you look at it in terms of a trend entry from the open, it is an iteration of the puncture trade. Okay, so Leah, same thing you were looking at earlier. Through the blue dot, your stop is now below the impulse candle right here. So there's your entry. Your target and break even accordingly on the DAX is up here. So break even puts us in the 46, 47 area on the DAX. Yes. I'm a rocket man. Rocket man.
Order pending.
That would be our puncture level on the NQ. We can put a
order pending,
just in case exit up there if it comes flying up and hits us. Yeah, Nathan, if you had the software, it would be a lot easier to explain it. This is a technique I teach called the split, time split. That split was a higher high pattern 5. When you go back and watch the recording, you'll see that I was predicting that candle to be the high before it reversed back down. Okay, so if I'm trading for the split, I want to have my sell stop ready for whatever the puncture candle is going to be. Again, if I want to be really aggressive, I want a 6 to 8 tick exit. So 59 to 61 would be the exit. So right here, you would be out if you were an aggressive trader.
Order filled.
and you want to catch that stop run, right?
Order canceled.
So there's two things that happen at a puncture. The two things that happen at a puncture are stops and then a drop, in which case you grab your $2, your $2.50, your $1.50, and you say thank you for the crumbs, or a trend continuation where it continues to travel higher. Okay, so observe this on the chart. You'll see we do get the reversal. It comes up, that's the high candle, drops back down. So people took profit here. It was a profit dumping area. The basis of the puncture setup is that when the profit taking is finished, and they want to continue higher, when people start to buy at the bid again, they're just buy. The banks are either allowing them to go up before the hammer drops, or there's really no sellers left and the trend will continue up until the next target that the banks have. Okay, so Nathan, in that case, if I use that technique that I just alluded to a moment ago, I can take the time signals, I can split them, and I know that the next signal is going to be a buying pressure wave right here. I'll even put this on there. There's a selling pressure wave waiting for me over here. Take the splits off. And so Nathan, something very important is going to happen when I get to that bar right here. Okay. Beautiful entry at 925. We had that perfectly positioned. Okay, nothing going on the CL chart. NQ watching for a pressure wave here. This is all manual. 40 minus 3, 1, 2, 3. 40 minus 3 is 39.25. So Nathan, we're looking for this thing to go up right now. 39.25. They're trying. Boy, are they trying. A lot of activity here. So your entry would be here. This is a very narrow target. Stop below at 39. Did not hit the break-even point yet. Break-even would be up here at 51. This is an aggressive split entry. It is not an official time signal entry. Over on gold, we're going to take the patterns away. This is normally a pattern 7 over here. On gold, if you wanted to enter, your stop would be below the white line. Break even would be at 27.3. NQ moving down towards the stop. Again, 39.25, stop filled on the NQ. First indication that the NQ might drop down from here. You have a trend line rejection set up right here at 36.25, potential long entry with a $2 stop. 36 to 34 would have taken you out. Next official flux time signal isn't here for a while. The next one is at 9:58 on the NQ. DAX has a low risk entry right here.
Order pending.
I didn't catch it when it was all the way down. It's sort of like Ron's Hail Mary play.
Order pending.
Came all the way down to the stop level before taking off. CL 947 long entry. Clear the board. Stop goes one tick below the white line at 54. Utilizing a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Entry at 59. Leah, that would take us back up, right? Target filled at 69, so 10 tick. 10 tick target on crude. Bazinga. No, I understand. Leah, as of right now, the NQ is in a downtrend.
Order filled.
I'm going to be super aggressive with this crazy thing.
Order pending. Order filled.
Nice.
Order canceled.
So I would really love everyone who loves these classes to come to the Vegas seminar. Vegas. Because there are 3 or 4 really important techniques that I'm going to be teaching there. One of them, however, is the understanding that I believe the NQ fell into a downtrend right here. So as of that red bar, I'm watching for the next selling pressure signal, which is right here. On the close of that bar, Leah, I would be watching for selling pressure. Over on gold, you're going to want to move your stop to break even. So your stop in gold was at 1325.8. You're going to push that up now to 26.5 because we're at 150% of risk. Your target is at 27.6 on gold. So this is a free trade, break even. CL at 300% of risk. DAX within 2 ticks of its long entry stop here, moving up towards the original target. NQ has a pattern 4 just before it, Nathan, so you would be entering short 3 ticks above the high of the candle. 1, 2, 3. Should be down here. That trade would be stopped out if you entered short just now. Hey, Leah, do me a favor. Let's look at this NQ entry as a breakout. There's a selling pressure signal here. It came up and they hit the stop, pulling back into this structure. The least aggressive way to trade a pattern 4 is a breakout below the swing. Kind of in a weird area right now. Okay, gold, you hit your target. Once you touch your target, I move my stop 1 tick away from it. So as of right now in gold, you are out. Bazinga. So from here to here, 10 ticks on gold. You're done. Everybody out of the water. All my settings, James, are 714 look back plus or minus, no plus or minus, oh gosh. 714 look back with an 8 swing strength. Okay, so over on the DAX, right now, if you took the original puncture trade, you're at your break-even component. So you would move your stop above the entry of the puncture, which would put us somewhere at the 15.5 range. So NQ, there's not, rather the DAX, there's nothing left to do. All right, let's get rid of the fib tools. And I'll get rid of the arrow tool also. So here's current state of affairs on the NQ. This is the resumption of trend. I'm going to put a green right here. So the trend is officially up again, which means we're watching for 958. So Tim, if this is in fact a back-to-back inversion, Leah, there's a pattern in my Michael pattern book called a back-to-back inversion. See if you can spot the pattern that we're watching for right here. There it is. Let me see if I can do it. Move the book. Where the heck is it? Sorry if I'm giving you all epilepsy. It was not mine. Yeah, this isn't the book. Sorry. I'm looking for the move up at 958, Leah, is essentially what I'm saying. We'll go back and review the pattern. And I'm watching for 958 in 12 seconds to launch.
Order pending.
And if not, we have a small stop.
Order pending.
Okay, Nathan, it's one of those pullbacks. So I can enter one of two ways. Aggressively at the close of the candle, Leah, like we said. In which case my stop is here. I missed it. Chirping around. Maybe we'll get filled. So if you entered, Leah, your target is 75.50, looks like. So 6-point target, Nathan, for you, you're out, you're flat on the NQ, and you're done. Good job.
Order filled.
That would be the first official entry for me. I can do no more than $100 of risk, which would be $52.25. So you can go for the moon, or you can just take it out. Right?
Order filled.
If you go for the moon, your target is up here at 70, 50, 70, 75. Nathan, when I saw those pattern 5s come up, this makes me get aggressive right here. But the target would be 150 or 200% of your risk if you're hanging on. When I see the pattern 5s like that, Nathan, it warns me of exhaustion right here. CL puncture trade at 90.
Order pending.
Looking for 96 to 98 as a scalp with a stop below the puncture candle at 85.
Order pending. Order filled.
So this would be a 10-tick trade if it hit the target. 2-to-1 risk reward. Only a 5-tick stop on this one. It's about as low as we can go. Good job, Nathan. You're doing really good, brother.
Order filled.
Stop filled on CL.
Order canceled.
Now, you can try again if it comes back up.
Order pending.
We'll just leave it there at the blue line. I generally find if it doesn't do it after 2, it won't do it anymore. So 2 times and we're done. Yeah, Tim, you were. I'm trying to show you why you were wrong, but I have to give everybody the book. The C signal works. The C signal drives the pattern. Here we go. Okay, so Leia, you watching? Check it out. And I'll get you guys, here's a copy of the book if you don't have it. Exclusive pro member access. There's the book in your chat box. But Nick, check it out here. Tim, we had the first inversion at A where it dropped down, the second signal at B where it went up. And you see how I was telling everybody to look for the move at 9:58? That's the C. That's the C. So this is the A, this is the B, and this is the C. Okay, so download yourselves a copy of that book. Go ahead and research that back-to-back inversion pattern. I've used it now over the years so many times I've just internalized it. All right. It's a great pattern to master if you can get your head around it. It comes up all over the place. Comes up on daily charts, comes up on minute charts. Yeah, that book right there is a good book to spend some time with. Okay, safe to say that CL put in a pivot at 9:59. That was a stop run. It was not a continuation pattern. Okay. Next signal is at 10:07. NQ is still in a limbo state from the 9:58 signal. The next signal won't be here till 10:27. If we use the split technique, something that I'm going to really teach about in Las Vegas, we're going to come here, and Leah, I expect this thing to peter out right here. I'm going to put a red line, target filled on the NQ. If you were long from the 9:58 signal, you're at 200% of risk. Anything from there on is gravy. But Leia, I'm watching for the NQ to run out of steam on that bar right there. And the next energy point to be here. And again, I want to teach you why and how that works. On March 26th and 27th. So here we are. Here we are at that reversal point. Leia, let's watch what happens. Leia, it's based on time theory. It's based on time theory. Too complicated to get into in a program class. Time is a fabric. It's a material. It's a naturally occurring substance. It has material properties that we can take advantage of. And so I would love to be able to teach you guys that. Nathan, just another reason why you got to get your hands on that software, bud. Okay, so if you were going to treat that, Leia, like a counter trend signal, 8075 plus 3 is 8050, I think. You'd be looking for a breakout here. No, Nathan, that's cool, brother. I'm glad you're here. That's the last I'm going to mention about that. I'm not here to make your life horrible. I'm here to make it easier, right? That's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so the breakout on the NQ is 80, 50, 75, 1. So you're long from 81.25 if you use that breakout technique, Leia. It's either a stop run with a quick payoff, 6 to 8 ticks, or it's a reversal and a drop down into the next phase. CL over here at 1007, super low risk entry. I don't even know if it's worth going after. I'm going to try it.
Order filled.
Stop is just below. Let's do 81 to 76.
Order filled.
Stop taking out. So Leia, right here, when the stop is taken out, this is another Vegas class. I'm anticipating a potential downtrend in crude from here on out, which puts a lot of interest in my mind at the 1014 signal. I'm going to mute the microphone here real quick. I'll be right back. I'm still here. I didn't go anywhere. I just have to type something real quick. I don't want to bang, bang, bang. Oh, before I forget, if you were in the DAX, your target was hit. Long from here, 200%, you're out, done. You also had a potential re-entry point, trend continuation, puncture at 10:05, looking for 6 to 8 ticks on the stop run or a trend continuation up into a 200% move. Great day today. Okay, I'm back. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. All right, on the NQ, here's what the dealio was. We had the green line where the dot is right here. If we follow the same protocols, this is a pattern 5, Nathan, coming into the signal, just like what happened before. So we're waiting for a pullback. The original stop would be 3 ticks down, 1, 2, 3. But we would be waiting for a pullback to the line, which was there. The original stop would have been from the close of that candle to 1 tick below, which would have been 77.25. You'd have entered at the line and still been stopped out. So that was a loss. NQ net loss right here. From here to there. Minus $2.50. Okay. So nothing going on in the NQ. ES, you had a puncture trade long up here, good for 6 to 8 ticks. We're looking for, there's $3.50. You'd be looking for $2 minimally coming through that stop run, and it didn't quite touch that yet. Okay, if you were going to trade the ES long, your stop would be below that line right there, off of the puncture of this blue line. Anybody take the 1014 short based off of the 1007 failure on CL? This is another pattern that I'm going to be teaching about in Las Vegas. Vegas. Let me get you guys a link for that event so you can sign up for it. This is a no-brainer. If you can come virtually, if you can come live, it is the absolute best training we have for our customers each year. Okay, so the link to get going here is in your chat box. Okay, this is just a brief agenda of the things that we're going to be going through, all the details. More information will be coming out in the next week or so. So if you can, make a way to get there, because you would understand why I would have advised you to take a counter trend signal at 1014. I understand, Don. Marco, can I share the workspace? Yeah. Yeah, I can. Let me, I do have one thing I have to get rid of. I have Bitcoin over here. Get rid of that. My Euro daily chart. My NQ daily chart that we just did. And Euro 60, pound dollar 15. Okay, we're good. Just make sure it's all there. All right, so we're going to save this workspace with today's dates, the 7th, 0207, File, workspace, save workspace as. We're in the garage. 020718. Okay. Let's put that up in the Dropbox. Do that off screen so we're not destroying anything here. Upload files. NinjaTrader, workspaces. Okay, it's uploading now. Marco, standby. Okay, CL, we're expecting the drop to continue until 10:30. Crude inventory report at 10:30. GC at 10:09. With the pattern 5, we would have been waiting for a pullback to the line right here. The original stop would have been the distance between the close of the candle and one tick underneath us. So that is right here. So that trade would have been a stop right there, -6. Next signal in the DAX is 10:40. If you would like today's workspace is brought to you courtesy of Johnson & Johnson, a family company. Copy link. Workspace link is deposited in your chat box right now. One, we gave a daily bar analysis explaining why the volatility was the way it was. Check out the recording later. So week 3, day 3. Okay.
If you write anything on your computer, you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day, and Grammarly makes my writing better.
Nope. GC at 1029. This is a pattern 4. So you have two options. You can get in at the close of the candle in 37 seconds, or you can wait for a pullback to the line. We'll try it both ways.
Order pending. Order filled.
Okay, filled in gold. 0.5. Stop at 0.4.
Order pending.
The risk on that is presently 9 ticks. I'm also going to have a sell order here
Order
with a 9 tick stop, which would be 0.2.
Order pending.
So we'll try selling it both ways. One will be a pullback trade, one will be a trend continuation trade. And you'll see the difference between the two. CL has, there's the econ. Whee! Nice to get that out of the way. Okay. If you felt really froggy on CL, you could put a buy order just above here. Gold is starting to pee me off a little bit. It is turning green. But it's not moving very far. I don't like when it stays at my entry like that. I'd like to see it move in my direction right away. $10.29. $10.34 will be my kind of a can't take it anymore thing. So right here at 10.34, I don't really want to play with this anymore. I'm going to close the trade. How's everybody feeling right now? Today worth your while? Did you get your $5 worth today? Everyone got really quiet. So, all right, CL. $10.40 is coming. Now, here's the thing. With $10.40, you'll notice that it dropped right from here. So, Nathan, do you see how it fell at the white dot? That white dot wasn't behaving like a white dot, was it? It was behaving like a blue dot. So I want you to think about that lesson we taught earlier. And I want you to anticipate what might be coming. So Tim, what do you think might be coming? Do you see any similarities between this signal here, Nathan, and this signal here? And now we're coming into 1040, right? Which is like the 1255 signal. So there's a really good chance that CL, if you're a counter trend trader, is going to invert at 1040. Tim, do you see where we also put that red line telling people that this is where the downtrend was going to start in crude? That's a huge class in Vegas. There are so many levels to that I can't wait to get into. Okay, let's see what happens when we get to 1040 in CL. What will happen when we get into this zone? Hmm. We'll try it both ways. How about that? We'll come at it from a counter trend perspective. We'll come at it from a trend perspective. NQ was projected to be down from 1027 until, holy crap, there's a no signal until, holy cow, 11:30. If we use our split technique, we're expecting some upward pressure layer over here. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get that ready. 1040 is coming. Okay, so if you're a trend trader on CL, you are short from 89. You have a 5-tick stop, which is 94, and a 10-tick target, which is 79, and you're out plus 10 right now. So if you took the 1040 signal short, Nathan, you're out with 10 ticks, and it went immediately straight down. Okay. If you tried to do the counter trend, you got hammered just now. Nathan said, I shorted 85, stayed too long, and he closed at 79. Yes. Yes. Barney, that's why I trade. That's why I almost exclusively ignore every one of my counter trend instincts. That's right. Yes. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Let's get rid of Jason's stuff here. Yeah, so that's, that's exactly why I wanted to show it both ways. Yes. There shouldn't be any doubt in anybody's mind that this happened. Yep. But I was watching for that pattern. I see that pattern happen all the time. It didn't happen today. So when you have to choose the counter trend setup or the trend setup, you should always opt for the trend setup wherever possible, in my opinion, in the for what it's worth category. Some of you are really good at it. Ernie, you're sort of the master of finding those reversals, but you demand a very high burden of proof. You're using broadhead, you're using 60-minute levels, you're using divergence. There's a lot. 60-minute times. So on and so forth. Yeah. So, all right, I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll be right back. Okay, did anybody catch the NQ long? At that green line that I drew? Good job, Ron. Very nice setup there. CL, we had a puncture trade short right here at 1050. Anybody take the CL short? Try to give you some guidance here. Stop would be above the puncture candle at 48. Entrance would have been at 41. 7 tick risk, 14 tick reward. You are currently flat on CL. NQ, we don't have another signal until 11:30. The NQ will rise until right here. And we will have the earliest we'll have a drop. Ron will be right here where we're at this bar right now. And then the next pop will be here. Okay, your last setup on gold was a short at 1041. That was a 10 tick winner. You had a trend signal at 1041. Your entry was at 6. That means your minimum stop is 0.1. 10 tick exit at 23.6 using the trend continuation signal. NQ, I'm anticipating we're up until here with a potential pullback here on the NQ. And then last but not least, the DAX going up at 1040. You have until 1128. Gold's next signal won't be here until 1107. ES will scoot this over. We are back at the puncture point. This would be a second opportunity for a long at 1475 with a stop below the puncture candle when it closes. There's a tricky one here because the candle hasn't closed yet and won't until 4 minutes from now. So leave the ES alone right now. Don't do anything with it. So Ron, I caught the first drop on the NQ down until the second sub-split. 11 o'clock signal on CL. On the ES, you are long from the puncture point with a stop below 710 quarter. We do have now a low, so you can look for 6 to 8 ticks, which would be 1675 if you wanted to grab your $2 and go. Over here on CL, you have another entry short, 11 o'clock, stop above the blue line. Your risk on the trade is presently from 38 to 38 tick risk, 16 tick reward. Your 1.5 break-even point is 62.18. NQ, we're at the green level right here. We should see it pop up in the NQ right now based on the fabric of time theory. Let's see what we get. That was a nice little pop, Ron, don't you think? Woo! Who predicted that? Go, Michael. Go, Michael. That was freaking awesome. We're on fire, guys. Nathan got his 6 points. On the NQ. And we're just doing really good today. Good with our splits, good with our trend entries. Man on fire. Man on fire. Oh, Ron, I had a 15-point swing on the NQ. That's my mistake. I had the wrong setting here. I must have had it set up from another customer. But I was able to break it up into an 8-point swing using my splits. So I'm okay with that. So NQ has a 15 today. CL target acquired. If you were short at 62.30, you just hit your 200%. Should be a 16 tick reward. Bazinga. And my ES 2.8 tick puncture trade worked really, really well. DAX, you were long. You're done at 11.28. So no more playing in the pool at 11.28 if you're a DAX person. Great morning this morning. I needed that. Definitely needed that. So yeah, Ron, tomorrow remind me to check those settings with you before we go through everything. Setups are still the same. No difference. 1106 signal on CL is a pattern 4. This is also a time 1-2 punch. This is a 1-2 punch double bottom in time. I wouldn't touch this trend trade short right here. I would leave it alone. Okay, when you see these two signals like this right here, it has a tendency to go the other way. Okay, this is a 1-2 punch, a pattern 1 right next to a pattern 2 like that. I'm not a big fan right now, guys. Take care, Gary. Gary, Bob, can you ask that question again? Which market? 1107 looking for buying pressure in gold. If you were coming after that with trend, you'd be looking for a puncture of the white line. NQ people, you've got about 1 minute and 7 seconds for a potential drop. So on CL, can you explain the number 4 signal right after the number 2 selling pressure signal? Yeah, so Bob, right here, we have 2 signals back to back, 1105, 1106. 1105 is evidence of a buying pressure swing. In the past, 1106 is evidence of a selling pressure swing, but where it appears the warp is letting us know that it's a pattern 4 signal. When we see pattern 4s, they generally do this, right, Bob? That's what they tend to look like. They tend to go the other direction when the selling dot is at a brand new low. So when you see those 2 patterns next to each other, Bob, it forms a time double bottom. The market will actually trend up out of that more than half of the time in my experience. Just going by what I remember. So if you were going to trade CL short, I would advise waiting for a pullback to the dot at 6208, minimally. But in my mind, this is an exhaustion area right here, and we'll probably go back the other way, up towards the moving average. But I'm not going to take a counter trend trade. They don't like me. Anybody still long in the ES off of that second puncture trade? There were 2 of them here today. There was the 1 puncture here, and then the second puncture here. Over on the NQ, this is the place we're expecting the run to slow down and stop using those splits off the 15 run. Again, I'm sorry, I thought I had the 8 on that. I was wrong. Okay, but we did see those times coming up. We'll go back and look at what it looked like with an 8. That's not a problem. Okay. Bob, The way my software is set right now, there's a bug where it will print patterns in real time. And if I refresh it, the patterns will go away. I'm trying to show people the most basic setups with no patterns on them. Okay, but there's a glitch that still shows the live pattern as it forms. So if I reload, the patterns are gone. But I still knew from the live pattern that this was a 4-1 combo or a 1-2 punch, and that we would probably see a trend reversal. So here, if you traded a pattern 4 pullback, your original stop would have been 1 tick above the blue line to the close of the candle, right here. So if you entered at the blue line, Bob, your stop would be right there. So I would enter here at 08. My max risk would be 18. Or my stop rather would be at 23. My max risk would be 10. So the earliest I could enter would be 13. So Bob, using that pattern 4 pullback, you're short right here with a 20 tick target. GC has a crossover signal. It's pretty aggressive. We did have a white dot right here. All of these closes were below the moving average. This is the first candle that closed above the moving average. Your stop would be 1 tick below the crossover candle right here, 0.7 to 0.5. That's an 8 tick. Stop with a 16 tick target, 2 to 1. A lot of people say that those crossover candles are their favorite setups. Okay. So Ron, we'll take this one. Save this as my 714.8 template. We'll open a new NQ 1 minute chart and see what it did with that. Okay. Okay, if you took that trade in gold, it is stopped out right here. -8. Next signal coming is 11:30 on the NQ. And CL hasn't hit the stop yet, but it got pretty close. And NQ 714.8. Ron, this is what I've got. The 714.8. Does that look more like what you've got? Let me check it. 8, 714, 714, 8. Yep. So in the NQ today with the 714.8, we had a long that worked at 9:15. We had a breakout long at 9:29 that worked. 9:38 was a stop out that eventually went in the right direction. 9:48 worked. There was a crossover signal, good for about $5 there. Then we had the 9:58 signal. That was the winner of the morning. That one was right on the money. 10:27 brought us back down, and then Ron, we had the puncture right here. That was good for 6 to 8 ticks, and then we had another signal, Ron, at 10:52 that worked, and then the next puncture was at 11:07 on the NQ using the 1 minute chart. So there was a long entry here, a long entry here, a long entry here with a stop out, no long entry here, a crossover signal and a breakdown below, a long entry here, no long entry at 10:27, a long entry at 10:49, 10:52, a chance to add to the position, 11:07, a long entry too. So the 1 minute NQ signal's working really well. CL is stopped out. CL is stopped out. Yeah, Bob, if you want to see the patterns, you can go into the tool, and where it says show live historical patterns, you can change all of these to true, and the patterns will come back. I have mine turned off presently. Holy cow. So Bob, over on gold, for example, you're showing a pattern 4 right now. If you turned off the patterns, or reloaded your Ninja script, if you didn't want to look at the patterns, you're going to have to get comfortable with that parameter, Bob. So if you're just going for a trend entry here, the close of the candle would be your entry, your target would be 2 times your risk, your stop would be 1 tick above the dot. If you employ a pattern 4 trading system, you'd be waiting for a pullback to the line. So again, if you want to see the patterns, you go up to the parameter that says show live, show historical. You make them both true. Right there, true, true, true. And that brings everything back. Now you have all the patterns. Yeah, Bob, I'm literally, I don't know, I'm not sure what's happening between us right now. It feels weird. Like there's only 2 things I can change on or off, and I'm showing you how to turn them on or off. I'm not sure what's getting lost in translation. So if you're short in gold, your first target is 23.1. That's 150% of your risk. 200% is 22.8. We'll see if it hits it. Insert page, paste, format, crop. Things get slower towards 11:30, so this will be the last setup that we look for.